Hello, everyone, and welcome to Van Horn's third annual Black History Month program. As we all know, COVID made the school year extremely weird and kind of difficult, which is why you see me making this video from the comfort of my own home and not like the school how we would normally have it. But I'd like to give a personal shout out to everyone who's continued to remain strong in this unpredictable time. From the admin to the staff and to the students, you guys have shown an amazing strength of resilience. So keep up the great work. I would also like to thank every hand who helped make this year another successful year for us. It has been a journey. Thankfully, though, I am very proud to say that nothing has stopped the BSU from coming together and presenting to you this year's virtual Black History Month video. Last year's program focused on the essence of Black excellence, and this year we wanted to switch it up a little bit. So the title of this year's program is The Unfiltered Reality of Black America Through the Eyes of Us. Please enjoy.
This is America. Don't got you slipping up. Look how I'm living up. Police be tripping up. Yeah, this is America. Guns in my area. I got the strap.
Until the killing of black men, black mothers' sons, becomes as important to the rest of the country as the killing of a white mother's son. We who believe in freedom cannot rest until this happens.
When you hear names like George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Muhammad Aubrey, what is your first initial reaction?
Injustice. And the people that did those things to those people were not, how can I say, they didn't get what they deserved.
Being at the protest was a good thing, but I don't think the outcome that we were there for, it didn't really happen to get justice for those people, because an innocent man was, well, not, I know what he did was a crime, but I don't think any crime is big enough to cost somebody their life, especially over counterfeit money or over a girl in her apartment and the police going into her apartment and killing her. I don't think that she should have died from that, and I think that whoever did it should have been held responsible, and the fact that they weren't is like mind-blowing. It's not even surprising anymore because of how often it's happened, but it's still like another one. Really, we're still doing the same things after so many years, and they'd be like, well, the world is way better of a place, but I just think this is still, it's modern day slavery to me, because black people are still being killed without getting justice. And I think if the roles were reversed, it would have been a different outcome. If a white person was killed like that, the person would have definitely went to jail.
Just think of the injustice and a lot of these bad cops that slip through the cracks, either racist or just too power hungry. Yeah, I just think of power hungry cops killing innocent black lives.
It's the same story but a different name. Like, I don't know how many times we have to go through this, and like it's the same outcome every single time. And it's like those are like some hard topics, and like hearing these people and hearing like they're not far from my age either. So like that could easily be like one of my siblings or like one of my friends. And I don't know, it's just it's exhausting.
In America, black people are treated very much as the Vietnamese people or any other colonized people, because we're brutalized. The police in our community occupy our area, our community, as a foreign troop occupies territory. And the police are there not to, in our community, not to promote our welfare or for our security and our safety, but they're there to contain us, to brutalize us and murder us.
Growing up black in Kansas City, I was always taught that in Sugar Creek, I was always to drive 5 below if I was ever pulled over, hands on the dash, you know, the usual deal. But it was after a football game and I was taking a friend home, and especially when you have a group of black teens in a BMW car, a luxury vehicle, it's not suspicious that you would just get pulled over by a police officer. So we're driving and we're leaving 24, and the car's behind us, and he pulls us over as soon as we drive off. As soon as the light goes green, his siren goes on. And he pulls us over and he says, "Have you been drinking today, sir?" And we're like, "No, sir, we just got back from a high school football game." And he's like, "This your car, you guys take it?" And it made me really upset that it just made me angry. It made me had to call my mom during the car ride. It was very scary for her. It was very scary for me, and I just really wanted to be home in that moment. The fact that a bunch of black teens were driving around in a BMW, it made him think he had the right to pull us over because we took it, as if black people can't have the same things whites can.
On slave ships, one of the first things that was done was that someone's hair was shaved. If hair was thought of as like a social security number, I can look at you and say all of these things about you because of your hairstyle. Suddenly, people have shaved heads. And then when the enslaved people were here in the US, there had to be a completely new hair culture that was born out of people from all of these different groups. During slavery, Sunday was the day that was set aside where you could actually do your hair. It was a time where actual grooming rituals were born, and also a way to figure out how to care for hair that could last for an entire week of you weren't going to be able to do anything until the next Sunday. The two main hairstyles that came out of that were head rags and also cornrows.
I remember this one time, my mom, she had asked me and my brother Trinity to go and get milk. So we were walking in Walmart and we were leaving. There was this lady. She was there with her and her daughter. Now, I don't think her daughter knew any better. She was like 5, 6 years old. But at that time, I didn't have my hair done like it is now. So her daughter, she was pointing at me. Her daughter was like interested in my hair. And her mom was like very rude about it. Her mom was like, "No, we don't talk to those people. We don't mess with them." And at that moment, I was just like, there's nothing wrong with your daughter finding an interest in my hair. There's nothing wrong with your daughter being like, "Oh yeah, I like that." It made me feel bad because I take pride in my hair. I like my hair. I like my hair a lot. And the fact that her mom was just immediately like rejected the fact that her daughter found someone of color like interesting, it was like, well, not only are you teaching your daughter the wrong kind of morals, but you're teaching your daughter that it's okay to not like people because of their appearance.
One time where I think it was last year, like they told us that we can't wear head wraps or something, but and like it wasn't even distracting or whatever. And like I wear those all the time, and that's part of my culture. And they told me to take it off, and I was like, "For what?" And they're like, "Oh, it's distracting." I'm like, "Dude." I'm like, because every class I went in, the teachers were still teaching, and everybody else was still listening. So clearly it was distracting to them, and they're not even a teacher.
I came in 2015, and it was not a welcome feeling. I didn't feel like I was fitting with other people. But as years go by, I learned to accept myself. If I was going to be accepted, I was going to be accepted as who I am, not as what people want me to be.
In 8th grade, I always get like looks from classmates whenever in history class when they start talking about slavery. Like I always get eyeballs. And there was this one kid that he was talking, and he was saying that basically if it was slavery times and if I was one of his slaves, then he would like hang me because I would be too defiant or whatever. It was kind of uncomfortable. It's probably honestly ignorance because I couldn't even explain, like I don't know what was going through his head when he said that. It's not okay. And like at this point, I'm not gonna sit there and freaking talk to someone that's not able to change.
We are
for starters, we need to have more like education when it comes to like African American culture or just like other cultures in general. Because like, I don't know, history class we get AP or we get European history or whatever. We're learning about the accomplishments of like white people or whatever, but we don't really have that. We don't have. Not a lot of people know much of what we have.
They don't like the awareness of like us spreading the awareness of Black Lives Matter, and I guess it's controversial. But I mean, the Confederate flag is more controversial than Black Lives Matter. But it took us like 4 days to address the dude who wore that, so that was interesting. We know how the school works, we know how the superintendent works, and he doesn't like doing political things, but yet he made a post on Twitter being political, which is very funny. And I think that Independence as a district fails Black students. The principals, this is their job to be helping us because we have things we need to talk about. And our voices shouldn't be silenced, and Black Lives Matter definitely should be silenced. I think that we need to do better as a school.
From a student standpoint, the best way to understand how a Black student can be comfortable in a school is ask the Black student.
You say we can like value our opinions and that we have freedom of speech, and we wear a mask that says Black Lives Matter, and it's a problem. So it makes me feel like they're thinking Black lives don't matter, because why else would it have been a problem?
Being activists with us, you know, showing them that we're not violent people, showing them that we're not, you know, dangerous or that we hold any threat to them, and just showing them that, you know, like, we want change.
I hope that Black Student Union can get their voices heard. I think that like an issue with us right now is that coming up as a new group, people don't really take us as serious. So it's like we're still more in the process of proving ourselves as a group rather than being given a right. I think that the whole Black Lives Matter mask thing was a bit ridiculous because you're being told that just like saying my life matters is a political statement. What's political about a human right? And then you turn around having a kid wear a whole Confederate flag jacket and he gets told that it's his heritage and he has his right to his history. And I think that's a bit ridiculous, especially on the part of Dr. Hurl. And I feel like he doesn't acknowledge us as well. The Black voices and the independent school districts, they often slip through the cracks, and I don't like that. I want us to be heard. I want everybody to be heard.
We're saying their names. We're being loud.
Thank you for watching the video. But before we move on, there is something that I'd like to talk about. In the process of making that video, there was so much that we wanted to talk about and explain and show. But in regards to some of your reactions, we were told to censor ourselves. From our poetry to our life stories, we were made to understand that the student body and even some of the staff was not ready to hear our truth in the world that we live in today. And to that, all I can say is how made it must be to have someone's voice censored for you without you really even knowing it. In our history, we've seen our people be murdered and humiliated, discriminated against, and treated inhumanely without ever really knowing who could be next. Me, my brother, my cousin, my mom, or even that kid sitting right next to you in class. Maybe you don't understand, but this is our reality. This is our world. I don't know about you, but I can't wake up and choose not to see that. And I refuse to wake up and choose a world that silences me or censors me for the benefit or the comfort of white fragility. Keeping you comfortable is not my job, and I refuse to be silent to do so. Another point that I'd like to make though, we did not create this video to whine or complain about absolutely anything. We made this video to help bring awareness to the fact, especially that our history is American history, and American history is taking place right now. Angela Davis once said, in a racist society, it is not enough to just be non-racist. We must become anti-racist. We created the video to help gain allies for our community, to help fight the war, not between black and white, but between the socially unjust norms. You have a privilege to stand up and fight the fight, or sit comfortably in the seat that was molded perfectly for you. Not everyone gets that privilege, but me saying to you, all in all, if that video was at all helpful or beneficial, or you learned anything from it, join us, educate yourself, fight the fight, become an anti-racist, and help us change the world for the better for everyone. Thank y'all, and have a great rest of your day.